Hello and welcome to Spine and Soul, a podcast where books meet the inner world. We're five women who love reading deeply, thinking honestly, and talking about the parts of life that words help us name. Mental health, resilience, grief, healing, and everything in between. We're also friends, which means these conversations are rooted in trust, care, and a lot of shared laughter. Each episode, we gather around the books we're reading and let the conversations flow. Sometimes thoughtful, sometimes messy, always real. Welcome to Spine and Soul. Our first book on Spine and Soul, we have chosen Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Brene Brown is a researcher, storyteller, and professor at the University of Houston. Published in 2012 by Gotham Books, Daring Greatly draws on Brown's years of research on vulnerability and courage. Showing up and letting ourselves be seen is the bravest thing we can do. Let's get into it. Yeah, so we're going to wait for you to get off her phone.
Oh, no, I'm just waiting on y'all.
She's like, I don't care about any of the chit chat. I'm here to get down to business. That's it.
Did everybody read the first chapter?
Yes. And the prologue.
Just so everybody knows, I have gathered together three of the most sarcastic, smartass women that I have met, and they are my close friends.
You three, four. Then no.
Yeah, see,
It's
thinks
not sarcastic.
because she's understated about it.
Oh,
That she's not sarcastic.
oh, that's been a work in progress for decades. Let me tell you.
She does it with her face.
That's because the army taught her how not to do it with her mouth. I'm sorry, is that too revealing?
We all know it's okay.
It slips out.
Her
sometimes.
face. It's actually quite
Fix your
amazing.
face.
I picked this book because in talking with all of us and the things that we've been going through, it seemed like this was highly appropriate. Did you find any of it useful?
I think that I will more the further we get into it. The setup for it, I find interesting, but not relatable just yet for me.
Okay.
But I do find it interesting, and I think that it will start to build, and then I will see relatable.
I relate to it very much. It's just hard for me to read this kind of book because there's so many words. Give me the bulleted list. I want the bulleted list, get to the point, move on. But I can see definitely how the shame and scarcity make this a hellish world.
I think it's really good. I had to reread it because there was so much goodness I couldn't retain it.
Miss B, how about you?
This is speaking my language right from the get-go with all the words and all the context
She wants more words.
and all the framework and all. Well, I've added my own. I'm feeling very much at home in the book so far.
Has it transformed any of your old thinking?
I don't know that it's transforming my thinking as much as it is sharpening my awareness and causing the awareness to be highlighted on the choices that I actually have to make, what I'm free to make, and which means it's highlighted again, old patterns versus thinking about who I really want to be versus being caught in a habitual pattern of just reactivity without being aware. So becoming aware of how you habitually, without thinking, subconsciously respond. I need the thesaurus. I have brain fog and perimenopause too. So it has made a difference in the choices that I've been willing to make. Yes, absolutely. And I don't regret them. They've been scary, but I don't regret it.
When I was watching her now famous TED Talk, which she's never watched, by the way, she talks about how vulnerability is seen as weakness. Most of us feel that it's weakness, but it's actually a great personal strength when you can reveal yourself and it doesn't kill you. There's all these things that, for me, growing up with a mom who was exceptionally beautiful in a completely opposite way of the way I looked. Tall, thin, blonde, blue-eyed, this, Dutch artist. She was grace personified. And she looked at me too like I wasn't feminine, yet what she thought I should be. And so you try and project this thing of being different than who I actually was. And the shame of that, it's a shame of hiding all the time. It's like this self-defeating spiral of just anxiety and fear and not being able to just be yourself. It's just, it's tricky.
That was well said.
And she mentions that vulnerability in others, we welcome and invite it. We're drawn to it. And it is seen as strength. We automatically have a framework to see it as strength and go, wow, that took a lot of courage, until it's flipped and we are required to become vulnerable or invited to become vulnerable. And all of a sudden, it's no longer seen as a strength, but something that does need to be hidden away for a myriad of reasons.
See, when I read that, I immediately thought of all of you
Uh-huh.
because you are so welcoming to everybody else's vulnerability. You're like, oh, let's hold space for it, right? Let's take it out on the table and lay it out here and let's all talk about it. But then when it comes to your own a little bit, you're more like, let's talk about yours.
Talk about yours.
About yours some
I
more.
mean, you would say the exact same thing to me. Is like, I am very much I'm good. Let's move on. Let's talk about you. I don't need to talk about me. I'm okay. I'm good. So I thought that recognizing vulnerability to other people is so much easier than looking at ourselves.
And I'm remembering her wonderful line of, while y'all processing it, my part.
Yes. Yes. Why are we always processing? Why? Why do we have so much to process?
That was so
Why
funny.
do we have so
Why do
much?
we have so much? I've never had so much to process.
And here we are. Tearing greatly.
That's so hard. Did anybody take any notes while they were reading?
I did.
I did not. Leah didn't either, I bet.
Yes, I did.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
I mean, I didn't.
Yes, I
Whatever.
did. I actually wrote your name because it was talking about, like, well, with the media the way it is, we have 24/7 access to everything, right? So we see all the trauma happening real time because when you're watching, I mean, news and social media, more than 80% of it is all about the negative. Everything that is horrible going on. And so but we internalize it and we live it real time. Because if you have empathy, then you're like feeling the devastation of whatever they're going through on your screen. And it hit me because you had gone to a funeral recently and you were just exhausted because just being there watching the family fall apart over the death of this young person. We're just constantly bombarded with this. And it's like we live in tragedy every day. Every day we're living in tragedy and trauma. It not necessarily in our own life, but it's close enough to somebody we love that you feel a weight. You may not feel the same weight, but you feel a weight. And so you're just burden upon burden, day in, day out, and you just carry that.
Comes up for me when I hear you say that is, I wonder if it's easier to move through that weight when you show up as your authentic self. I know that when I go to a funeral or I'm with somebody who's going through something that's really difficult, words just seem so inadequate.
Right.
Yeah, and for a person who uses a lot of words and likes to talk and likes to write and does all this stuff, and it's something so big like that, I don't have a lot to say. And I used to not show up because I was afraid I would say the wrong thing. But if I show up as willing to not do the right thing, but just show up anyway, then I can be present.
I think that my reasoning for not really identifying necessarily with the first chapter is it talks so much about the whole narcissistic side of things and how we are so focused on this comparing ourselves to the celebrities and the social media, the influencers and all the things. And I just so don't do that. I've never been a person who looks up to celebrities. I've never impressed that upon my kids to do. Like, it's just not something that has ever been part of my thought process to think that way. But I can look at it and see how this new generation of people are affected that way. much more so than I think my generation is, that they're so concerned about their social media likes and influencers and what people think and putting out their best self and not realizing that there's a complete flip side to that coin that nobody really ever sees. So I think that as we move through the book, I think that will become more tied together to what I see.
I found the part when she's talking about the narcissism as over labeling, because I see a lot of that on social media as people are, oh, well, this person is just this and this and this.
Yep.
And they're putting them on slots and saying, well, that's their problem. And she talks about, we're trying to fix these people, but the reason they're like this is because they're full of shame. And when we do this, we're reinforcing that cycle of shame and self-anxiety. It's just become this catch-all phrase for people who behave like that. And there's often underlying stuff, and a lot of it is driven by shame. So people who act bigger than they are, they need to be all of this, and they're not willing to be there for anyone else and have this grandiosity about them. Absolutely driven by shame. Mm-hmm. If they were able to step back for just a few minutes and reveal their true selves and take a big breath and see that they could really be loved as they were, I think a lot of that would go away. But there's often way too much pain in front of that, where it is.
Okay. So daring to be seen. Okay. I put 1, there's a cost for both choosing disengagement or vulnerability. There are always choices to be made. Constrictive, closed, vigilant. The choice to disengage or the choice to be vulnerable and be seen. Both of those come with a cost and a consequence/reward, however you want to view it. And all are going to be held in the body. One is highly constrictive, and it's going to cause the body to begin to constrict and to shut down in a certain way. Other responses cause the body to sort of open up. You naturally breathe easier, right? I just saw you do that. You naturally breathe easier. Things are typically naturally brighter, including your posture. The weight of the world is processed differently through the body. The everyday tragedies that I think we are way too exposed to, extremely way overexposed to all the happenings in the world. As human beings, we weren't made to carry the weight of the world in all parts of the world.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, which means we're finite. We have limits. We are not going to be perfect, whatever the image of perfection is. And shame and scarcity and fear, all of those what she gets into is scarcity and lack. It's a lack. So you're already starting off with ground zero feeling, well, I'm already lacking something. I better catch up. Well, that sense of needing to catch up, whether it means you're sitting there scrubbing the dishes super fast because you got to get on to something else, that has a toll on the body. It has a toll on the way you show up in relationship, the way you speak to ourselves, the way we drive, the way we talk on the phone, the way we interpret our environment. All of this is giving us the invitation to choose a stance. That stance is flexible because we're human. We don't always show up as joyful. We don't always show up as superwoman. Do we all have all of that flowing through us? Yes, absolutely. But do we do that every day? Thank God, no. Do we all have to walk through death and grief on a daily basis? Not to the same extent. We have one fleeting, precious life. We don't get to choose everything that happens to us. And I go back to the body and I think about the lungs, gas exchange. You inhale and things expand, and then you exhale and you let it out. Things come in and things go out. And there's a rhythm that is both in our control, out of our control. And they happen simultaneously, and life is a paradox. All the big things in life are paradox.
You talk about breath, and breath is at once a subconscious and conscious thing that we do.
Exactly.
And almost everything in dealing with emotion comes right back to our breath. In any emotion, if you're dealing with anger, if you're dealing with joy, if you're dealing with fear, if you're dealing with pain, the breath, how you process it through. I noticed a long time ago that when my anxiety was starting to spin up, I couldn't breathe. And I would start to talk. Does anyone gotten that feeling? You start to talk and it comes up here and you get that hitch when you're trying, and it reveals to the person you're probably trying to hide it from how anxious you actually are. But if you can, when you were talking about scarcity and doing things, I saw this total correlation between hurry up, I have no time. She talks about that scarcity of time. I have to move faster. I have to move faster is directly associated with scarcity. I find myself getting surprised that I get anything done at all because I'm no longer doing things in a state of constant fear and anxiety. I don't feel propelled by that anymore.
Between us,
Yeah.
your face looks 10 years younger.
Then when?
Before.
Yeah. It's just it's the calm. You're not in the moment of the pain. You're not in it's not just dragging you down and draining you out. You lift it up a little bit.
Well, I mean, and she's got this list in here of scarcity things, and I always have never felt thin enough, but I've never felt like safe enough to risk. And I always feel like I'm behind. Like I waste so much time, but I always feel like I don't have any time. And I wake up every morning not wanting to get out of bed. I don't look forward to the day. And there's so many other things I want to do, but I have to go and sit at that computer and work. And I don't feel like I'm safe enough to risk quitting that and looking for something else. So
financially safe enough.
Right.
What you're implying. Okay.
I don't have any, I will not risk my horses not being able to eat. I won't risk them not having a house. So I have to pay these bills, and I have a great job. My job is I could not have gotten a better job for myself. But I don't want it. I want something else. And I don't feel like I always feel behind because I'm not doing something else. I always feel like I'm not good enough because I'm not doing what I really want.
Do you really want?
I want to write. I want to be a writer. I want to spend more time with my horses, on my horses. I already pursue dance. I mean, I have my horses and I have dance. So those things I do. I have to fit the horses in around the corners, but I don't write. So even when I really want to, I don't. And you kind of have to be in a frame of mind to write creatively. And I'm just never there because I'm always exhausted from work or
dancing with us.
I'm not giving that up. Last year, I realized that I had started writing in 2023, and it's short stories. It's easy to bang out a short story. So I finished it. I wrote a couple more so that I could get to 12. And I just pushed the button.
Your writing shows a willingness to be vulnerable in your words that is very clear. I read some of your stories before my sudden introduction to what deep grief is, and then I read a little bit more after. And I was like, yeah, this is, these are real things. Actually publishing it and putting it out into the world. How do you feel about that? Showing up that way.
I mean, you guys are amazing. I feel so safe with all of you. But I have not always had that, but I have always, I don't know if it's just because of who I am or how I'm built, but I've always just been able to stand. And no matter what was going on, I'm really calm in crises, except when it involves my kid or my horse. Then I'm hysterical and somebody else has to fix it. But my dad told me that we were out walking in the desert and our dog got bit by a snake. And I organized getting the dog back so that my parents could take it to the vet, save its life. I have no recollection of this, but he said, you just stayed calm and you just organized everybody to get the dog back. And so there's something in me that can withstand a lot. And I was with a narcissist and he was abusive in every way it's possible to be abusive. And I still had to stay my course because I had these horses, I had these dogs, I had this job. Nobody even knew when I was getting divorced at work because that wasn't part of work. But it was a devastating divorce that I didn't want, but nobody knew I was going through it. Because I can stand no matter what's going on around me.
So I'm curious, because just as you were talking about dance and writing and this and the horses and the that, and I'm not doing what I want to be doing because I don't have enough time for it. As people, do we all try to overextend ourselves outside of what we can really accomplish, setting ourselves up for unhappiness and defeat because we can never really do all of the things that we want to do? Is there anybody on earth who sits back and goes, "Oh, well, I've done everything I wanted to. Look at that. I've still got time to spare"? Are we just now like causing our own self-harm because we can't realize our own limits?
I would say that is an excellent question.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah. So to reset your own framework, you have to go, okay, well, I love doing these things, but I really only have time to do 2 things. So which one of these things do I love the least? And okay, well, now I'm doing 2 things that I love and I'm very happy doing them. And then not worrying about the other thing.
I left my home of 40-something years partially because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because over the decades, I had built up a life that had so many components to it that I couldn't handle it anymore. I had help with certain components of it, kind of. I had entered into ventures with so-called partners who said that they were going to do, their part, but I was always carrying the load. I was carrying the load of my marriages. I was carrying the load of my parenting. I was carrying the load of the farm. I was carrying it. And there are all these things that I wanted to do, different things. I wanted to sew. I wanted to write. I wanted to relax in bed and drink coffee for an hour and play games on my phone and not talk to anyone, which I do now, which is great. But, I love to cook. Like, all these things I just wanted to do, but I was put in the position of needing to make sure that my children were fed, make sure that the house was together, make sure the farm ran. I think there's a lot of things that I started doing that were distractions from how unhappy I was. And if there's this feeling as if you can run as fast as you possibly can, you can get away from how awful it feels. When I was 8, my mother said to me, "Oh, you're just like your father, just like your father." And the things that she had been saying about my father for years were just awful. I still remember standing in the middle of her studio. I remember where the door was. I remember the smell of it and hearing her say this to me and me getting this feeling that if I don't work as hard as I possibly can, I will never be good enough just as a human.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt genetically flawed by what she was telling me. That I didn't have the genetics or the blood to be a good person. So that was part of that, right? Like, I got to carry all this. I got to carry all this. I got to carry all this. And as women, we want to be good mothers. We want to be good wives. We want to have our own careers. We want to be good daughters. We want to be, it's a heavy, heavy burden and nobody can do it. There is not a single person on the planet that can do all of those things perfectly.
Did you use the word perfectly? Which is what she
good
talks
enough.
about.
Exactly.
Right? That's the perfect thing. We can all do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we have to lower our expectations as to what that means.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to reframe it and go, okay, it's not going to be perfect,
but it's going to be messy.
It's going to be messy, or it's going to be good enough.
Have you ever had anybody come up to you and start telling you, "Oh, you're so great. You handle all this. You do all this well. You do all that great." And on the inside, you're like,
yeah, all the time. Yeah. You got it together.
Yeah.
You're working through this so great. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I am.
Yeah. That's what you see.
Sure make it look good, don't I?
Yeah.
No. People used to tell me that when I was in my second marriage, and my husband was an alcoholic, and our home life was absolute total trash.
Well, you think about so many people who are like, when you tell people, "Oh, we're getting a divorce." Oh my God. Oh, really? What happened? You look so happy. Well, yeah. We all look happy on the
just
outside.
saw pictures on Facebook?
Yeah.
We learn early to school our features, so nobody can see what's really going on.
Post the best pictures.
That's right. Fix your face.
Fix your face.
That's right.
So then how does being vulnerable change that?
It's a rebellion against everything always having to look perfect and be neat and not messy. Because vulnerability is not neat.
Mm-mm.
It's not easy.
Mm-mm.
It is messy.
Well, when I showed up here, I showed up as myself. I came to a place where nobody knew me. So in the small town that I had left, people knew me as their mom or you're their daughter. You were this in the community. I had this amalgam of decades. And it's interesting because I actually didn't feel seen as myself by these people who've known me forever. Because they all have their built up ideas over the years of who I was. So when I showed up here, I was just going to show up as myself. Just going to be me, do what I like to do, present myself as I am. And I have this amazing group of women friends. And I didn't actually know, like when you all showed up for me, when my sweetheart died, you were all just here. You were here without question. You were here for weeks after that. You helped. I felt this bit of a shock. Like on the surface, I was like, well, yeah, of course you're going to be there. But the way you all showed up for me, there was a confusion because I didn't feel like I'd done enough to actually deserve that because all I really did was just show up as me. And that I think pertains to like, it's not enough to just show up as you.
Wow.
But clearly,
That's deep.
it is.
Yeah. That whole thing she talks about the extraordinary, about trying to be the extraordinary life. And whereas you're saying, well, I'm just me. I'm not extraordinary. It's just me. But look at all these people who showed up, even though it's just little old me.
Just me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is definitely a revelation. Yeah.
If we had asked the question, all right, everybody guess, who's going to be the first one to cry at book club? I never would have picked me ever in 100 years. Like I'm not going to say who I would have picked, but it wasn't me. It was not me.
Yes.
It was not me. It was like, oh,
It was her.
I'm not going to cry at book club. I mean, come on.
But can you tell us why?
It's been a hard weekend. I didn't get a lot of sleep. And it's just, so now I'm just like,
She's purging.
I'm just extra weepy. Like everything makes me just weepy.
Mm-hmm.
And the vulnerability, I mean, talking about that, reading about that at a very early age, I learned that being vulnerable brought pain because people abused it drastically, devastatingly. And so you just had to shut that door because as a small child, I mean, you're like this helpless little vulnerable animal, just all of your soft belly exposed and people are just throwing daggers at it. And it's like, oh, I got to close that up because that's vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's like, I use the analogy a lot of I felt like a turtle and I just sucked inside the shell because that was my only safe place. And as I get older, I'm coming out of the shell more, but it's still slowly and with hesitation and depends on the environment and who I'm with. So,
As an adult, you have tools so that you can be vulnerable and yet still have boundaries and requirements, and the ability to see what danger is and the choice to step away from things that don't serve you. When you're an adult, you have power, you have resources. So you actually can keep that vulnerability and yet move away from things that are going to harm that. Whereas you're a child, you don't even know you have that choice. You know, so many of us make these decisions that affect our relationships later by what we decide is survival as kids. You know, it's, oh, I don't like that. That's really hurtful. I'm going to go here. Our brains have this incredible ability to protect us from things that may not be the best for our relationships later, but will get you through being a kid. Even anybody else have anything compelling to say about this chapter?
I think we should all say what we feel like we are scarce in. Like, what do we not have enough of?
Thanks.
Okay. Well,
There it is.
They're virtually the only thing missing in my life. Yeah.
maybe not at the present moment, but overall, what is nothing?
Something more profound.
Like, okay, so do we have enough time? Do we have enough? Am I perfect enough? Am I fun enough? Am I powerful enough? Am I successful enough? Am I smart enough? Am I certain enough? Blah, 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 blah. Never extraordinary enough. Extraordinary enough.
All of them. All of them.
And does it relate to you more when your relationship with your previous spouses, with your parents, with your children? In which direction do you find that you feel like you felt the most not enough? Because your children don't look at you and think, oh my God, she's just not enough. You impose that.
Correct. They don't have the awareness, and their children, they're going to parent in a different light versus me as human having all of these insecurities or whatever. I could be wrong, but I'm going to be messy and take a stand here. I don't think you can separate the feeling of scarcity. I don't think you can compartmentalize it as cleanly as that. Because I think it's a core root. All right. Make it a core root. That's how I see these things. Not like the lack of worthiness, feeling unloved, feeling not enough. These are deep roots that I don't believe you can compartmentalize into one area of your life. However, you may have been asking, which area do you see it show up more in?
Yeah.
I'm on board with. It just depends on my menstrual cycle. I don't know. I don't know. And the issue of not enoughness is a core issue of mine, and then worthiness.
Okay.
And that is highly vulnerable for me to say right now because, so yeah, there we are.
And I just can't imagine a person more worthy.
Yeah.
Truly.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes, I gotta agree with that. Mine on this list is never thin enough. I've always been a curvy girl. Grew up with a very thin mother who told me things like, you should starve yourself for 3 days, that kind of stuff. She was always highly disapproving. I was very fortunate to my second marriage, marry a man who thought I was absolutely gorgeous in all my roundness.
I can take that one too, because, my mother never made me feel bad. She never was happy with her body. So from the earliest, she was always on a diet, and she got happy when she got cancer because it made her lose weight. I guess I didn't know anything about menopause then, but she got into menopause and couldn't lose weight. And I always felt like she had to. She never felt like she was ever happy with her body. And I was never happy with mine. I have not always. When we're young, it's easy to be beautiful and thin, and I was, but I still thought I was fat. And then after my first divorce, during my first marriage, I had the 2 kids, and I lost all the weight. So before I had my first child, I was 126. After I had my second child, I was 121. And I still got, within a short period of distance, my husband told me, you just need to work a little bit more on your ab. And my friend said, oh, I thought you were still pregnant. And I have to take all of that noise. The narcissist used it against me. I wasn't fat with the narcissist, but he used it against me, of course, because that's they target your insecurity and your weakness. So I have to put all of that noise aside still and figure out where I want to be with my body. And I would like to be lighter than I am, but I'm okay if I don't go down much farther. I would just like to be a healthier weight because my blood pressure will go down, and it's just healthier to be lighter. I don't think I'll ever be thin, and I'm okay with that because I'm very healthy. I want to be healthier.
I had a great home life growing up. My parents were divorced, but a wonderful mom and dad who loved us, and I never felt like I needed to protect. I never felt the need to self-protect in any way. So being vulnerable was not really in my vocabulary necessarily. I have noticed about myself that because I went to high school, I went to college, I have a degree, I don't use my degree anymore because I became a mom. and I stayed home and I stopped going and doing my big girl job and being a smart girl. And I fear that my kids look at me like, well, that's all she does. So, she's not smart because it's all she does. So I think I now have this insane need to have a huge work ethic to kill myself overdoing everything so that they see something of me.
Mm.
They don't see me get up in the morning and go to a job like they do their dad. They don't see me being a business person like I used to be. They don't see all of those things about me that I was proud of. And so now the thing that I do, I try to do it to the nth of my ability so that they can see something in me that is more than just, oh, she paints a little.
So what is that a scarcity of? Scarcity of self?
Yeah. Yeah. Of needing my kids to be proud of me.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very difficult to give up that autonomy and career and have kids and raise good kids, but you did it. And
The verdict's still out on them. But
They're coming along.
they're coming along. So they're going to be all right.
gotcha.
Well, let me
But you
just say,
did it.
you do a lot of jobs that are not traditional businessy jobs. So you don't get home and go, oh, look, I got a promotion. Or, I mean, I know a lot of the jobs you've done.
Yeah.
And they're big jobs. And they're pay worthy, pay worthy, but you just volunteer it.
Yeah.
So,
But from a kid's standpoint, they
I get it.
don't have that mentality to understand that
The work
level of effort.
Doesn't make it not true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have the career.
Mhm.
I've been to Scotland 7 times in the last 3.5 years with my job. Favorite thing I ever did was be a mom.
Yeah.
And have
Oh,
kids.
truly.
And
Yeah.
stay home and be with.
Yeah.
I would have done that if I could have kept a good man. I
Yeah.
would have stayed home with them for longer.
Yeah, I would have liked that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about you, Athena? What's on your scarcity list?
I was really heavy in high school. And so I will forever feel heavy no matter what I weigh or what size I wear.
Mm.
I have that as a, just internal view of myself at that size. And my mom was exactly like your mom, still is to this day. Oh my gosh, I got on the scales and I'm at 126 now. I'm just going to balloon up. And it's like, oh my word. I mean, it's still to this day. It's always been a thing. Social media doesn't help us in that respect because not only do we get it from our moms, but you get it from the whole industry. And I was at work for decades, and there's a level that you had to be at. It was male, and there was no room for vulnerability.
Yeah.
At all. So it was take charge and
I can relate to that too because just like you, when I did work, I worked in a military support.
yes.
So you're a woman.
Yes.
You've got to be able to hold your own.
Yes.
So there is no room to be anything less than on.
Yeah. No weakness.
Yeah.
Allowed.
No feminine weakness.
Correct.
The men can cheat on their wives and be total douchebag assholes.
Well,
and
yeah, I mean, but in a workplace environment, still the ability that the imperfections of a woman, you're not allowed. You just can't. You gotta, especially being a young engineering woman in a man's world. There's no room for you to fail.
Mm.
You have to hold your own.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to be tough. So the scarcity there was, fear of not being tough enough, fear of having too much emotion, fear of not being smart enough because it was full of smart people. Lots of smart people. And when I first started there, my ideas, and this isn't just my perception, because I had this validated by several of my peers, friends. My ideas originally in my first 6 years, any ideas I had, anything that I brought up was immediately, it was not valid. But that changed with years and changed with exposure. Yeah. So that just reinforces you're not smart enough.
Did anybody find moments of joy while reading this? Something that sparked like a breath or a release?
Oh, I get it. All right. This is a big thing for me.
Okay.
And this is in the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about parenting moments, but I take this broader into life. This is not just about parenting. It said imperfect parenting moments turn into gifts as our children watch us try to figure out what went wrong and how we can do it better next time. So when I was raising Lindsay, we had what we called do-overs, and we all got them. I would screw up, her dad would screw up, she would screw up. I go, hey, let's do a do-over. That did not go well. That didn't come out the way we wanted. We're not getting the result we hoped for. Let's do a do-over. So we always did do-overs. But when you have that in your view in life, not just in parenting, it's like then you allow yourself to be more vulnerable and just try things. Try things. It's like, so what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to learn how to do it better next time. And then the second thing was on the next page, it says, being rather than knowing requires showing up and letting ourselves be seen. So maybe the most important key is to just be present and be rather than going, oh, I got to know it and I got to nail it and I got to, no, just be and learn. Be willing to be and learn.
Just the awareness that we are constantly faced with choices can feel daunting until we view it as freedom and a breath of fresh air. I want to be careful with the words I choose, but on the other hand, not too careful. Do you see the paradox?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's exhausting.
Just going to give us all the words. Just give us all the words.
Do you want all the words?
You know you're going to give it. So
That is not what I asked. You did not.
Bill
The paradox, understanding that discomfort is a part of life. And often when we are willing to increase our capacity for discomfort, broaden our tolerance for uncertainty, there's a lot more peace to be had. Okay, so there's one truth to kind of bank on. But for me personally, the joy is just the freaking awareness that I have a choice. And no matter what I choose, it's going to give me something. When I'm a little unclear as to what response I want to give, I will simply kind of ask myself, if I were to die today, would I have more regret not saying something and showing up, or more regret by saying something and showing up? And that has a way to clarify a lot. Because at the end, it clarifies the cost. And so if I were to die in this moment, am I going to regret letting you know how I feel about you? No, I don't think so. It puts me in a vulnerable spot. It's a little uncomfortable because, oh my God, what if it's not reciprocated? Or what if they think I'm a freak? Or what if they... At the end of the day, I would rather live a little loud and be a little messy.
Amen.
Yeah. Than hold it in and crumble in on myself, because that's not what we were meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
We were meant to be part of an ecosystem, of a thriving, living community, that each of us are not here by chance. So because I'm not here by chance, that I go, oh, I have a responsibility to show up to you and you and you and you. I have a responsibility. Now I can take it or I can leave it, just like the dishes. Responsibility for those too. I can take it or leave it. But at someday you're going to run out of clean glasses, right? If I'm not doing the dishes, if I'm not pouring in and just being part of the community, at some point I'm going to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And who wants that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd rather risk somebody think I'm a little stupid or nuts than being alone. Oh, there's scarcity right there. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can edit that part out. That's a little too vulnerable. Okay, all right. There we are.
I understand. I don't regret pouring my love into somebody who then left suddenly.
Yeah.
Because if I hadn't have done that, and there were so many reasons for me not to do that, but I was like, I want to do this again. I want to show up for this person and tell this person, I love you and I want to love you. And I understand these boundaries and I understand the requirements and I understand what I'm getting into. But here I am with open arms. And I don't regret that at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, showing up is good.
Loving is risky.
Loving is risky.
Living is risky.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the body again.
Mhm.
If you look at the skin, and I've marveled at this for years, skin,
Uh-huh.
the smallest thing can penetrate this
Yes.
and destroy our lives.
Uh-huh.
But this thing is what our entire being is held in by this permeable, penetrable. It's not even a shield. Don't tell me that's not risky.
No.
We're walking around. I can nick a door frame and cut an artery because I'm just like, oh my God, right? It's not like we walk around with armor. And I go, what is this supposed to tell us?
Uh-huh.
This life is risky.
Uh-huh.
Life is risky. And we have only partial control, right?
Only of ourselves. Nothing else.
I mean, but only partial control of ourselves.
Yeah.
Our behavior, well, those with mental illness, not even that,
Right.
right?
Right.
Paradox, I tell you, my ADHD is kicking in. Okay. Living is risky. Love is risky. We are held by thin skin that is, I mean, at a moment's notice, we're here and then we're gone. But here we are.
Here we are.
My mind is blown. I'm going to stop there. I cannot convey the wonder that I hold.
She likes skin, apparently.
I don't. I have skin issues. Is that vulnerable too?
Yes. Part of it.
I'm itchy now.
Well, there's something for me that really brings a lot out of joy, and it is also in the introduction. The introduction is amazing. She talks about her guidepost for wholehearted living.
Yes, love it.
Yeah. Letting go of anxiety of a lifestyle as a lifestyle. Like all of these speak to me, but that one
Yes.
especially, letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle. That's huge for me.
Yeah.
Because it's what I ran on for years. And I remember talking to my therapist one morning and saying, I don't feel right. I feel like there's got to be all these things that aren't getting done, that I'm dropping, that somehow everything's going to come apart because I'm not doing things based on how anxious I am about them. I don't know what to do in its place. So it's just the realization that when we let go of things that are no longer serving us, that transition into finding something that does serve us can be a vulnerable place. Thank you for spending this time with us on Spine and Soul. If something in today's conversation stayed with you, we hope you carry it gently and maybe come back to it the next time you open a book or sit down with your own thoughts. We're grateful you're here, and we'll meet you again where words and the inner world connect. Until then, take care of your spine and your soul.